viewers might notice that I'm filming in a new part of the field, and the reason for that is because the last couple of weeks have been all about inspecting our new home from new angles. Not least of which is this gorgeous drone footage by my fellow YouTuber Pagan on the road, who was kind enough to get us some footage of the property so that we could kind of take stock of what we were dealing with when it came to the Willow situation. Yeah, thanks a million to Pagan on the road. He has a brilliant channel over there where he also does drone footage of various historic sites. So I'm gonna link him in the description below. Do get over and check out his stuff. Yeah, so the Willow. I had started trying to cut it by myself, by hand, with these bad boys. They are the loppers that Paddy lent to me, God bless him. Thank you, Paddy. But after spending like 2 half days clearing about 3 square meters of willow, I realized that the willow was going to have outgrown my tools by the time I made it to even a different patch of willow. If you haven't been following our journey here, we have a couple of kind of major-ish sort of problems with the site that we're going to have to really think of long-term solutions for. One of them is flooding. The other one is an overgrowth of willow. So on one hand, we don't really want to just get rid of all of the willow, because how much worse would the flooding situation be if we get it? Willow is notoriously thirsty and grows really, really fast. So we have to kind of assume that the willow has been holding back a considerable amount of excess groundwater from the site for us. So in a way, it's doing a job. The problem is that it's so densely rooted, like literally in a square foot, you could have 7 or 8 different saplings all hiding in the grass. So I realized that clearing it by hand basically wasn't doable, and for now we haven't got really the time or the budget or the connections. We don't really know anyone with the kind of machinery who could come over and help us to do a more long-term solution on the willow. We'd really like to coppice some of it so that we can start to supply our own firewood, or at least some of it, over the next few years. But it's not just as simple, I don't think, as cutting what we don't want and leaving what we do want, because as I say, the roots are so very dense. And willow's pretty badass. It'll just keep coming back. I'm trying to ask everywhere that I can for advice. I'm putting all of that into my brain and I'm mushing it up and I'm trying to come up with the best option. So if anybody out there watching knows what to do long term with willow, one of our best options so far is to just get somebody in with a digger or a plough and to just remove all of the roots. But that also seems like it would kind of just bulldoze the really diverse environment that's all contained within this beautiful little acre. I am an advocate for trying to encourage native species wherever possible, but I digress. Okay, so Dave came down here with a brush cutter saw. In case anyone was wondering, it was a Stihl, I can't remember which model, but we rented it from a local equipment hire company, and he spent 3 days basically going around and just cutting down the vast majority of the willow. So he missed individual ones here and there which were kind of buried down in the long grass. So I'm coming around afterwards with the loppers and getting some of those, and between myself and Darren and Hannah, we also lifted all of the sallies that Dave had cut down, because that was probably the issue in the first place as to how we ended up with overgrowth, is that some previous owner of this land maybe just cut down the sallies and then left them in the ground. And anyone who knows willow knows that it will just sprout probably several more trees of every one sally. So we're trying to avoid repeating that mistake. As I say, massive thanks to Hannah and Darren for giving us a hand in getting all those sallies lifted and piled up, and we were just waiting on some rainy weather to make conditions a little bit less dry, to make it a little bit safer to do a controlled burn. We were on a roll, and we also took care of another pretty major job involving some trees that we were getting a little bit worried about. I'm going to take you up and show you those now. But first, a quick stop in the ditch, okay? Yes, we still have willow growing here, but among our other native species growing on site, we have bramble, we have stinging nettles, we've got vetch, we've got buttercups, we've got dock. Okay, so you can imagine why we don't just want to go bulldozing through all of these beautiful species. By the way, if you would like to learn more about the folklore, history and mythology of Ireland's native herbs from me, Tara Tyne, then I'm going to put the link in the description of this video and in the top right hand corner of this shot, where you can visit the Irish Pagan School and do exactly that. Anyway, onwards to the trees. And here's what it looks like now. Okay, it's still a complete mess, but you know, it's an improvement. We're less concerned about trees or branches falling down on the roof of our house. These were all a load of ash trees, which were just growing along the boundary here. There's a bit of a stone wall there, and most of them were hit really bad with ash dieback. We've left this one just here because it wasn't too badly affected. The tree surgeon who came to take the trees down told us that it seemed to be in pretty good condition. So he just took away the ones that were really badly affected, which might have actually posed a threat to the house. Thanks as well to our neighbour here. We're going to have a look at the cottage next door, which we believe was built by the same person as our cottage, and it hasn't been lived in for decades. So we're going to have a little look at that in the next video. But I had to get talking to John and ask him, was he okay with us taking these trees down, because most of them were technically on his side. So thanks a million, John. It's a great job here now. We're delighted with it. And of course, thanks to our talented tree surgeon as well, who, like everybody else who comes to do a bit of work on our house, didn't want to feature in the video. So I've just done far away footage. Seriously though, all these people who come here are great crack, but none of them want to be on camera. I'm lucky to have Dave, I suppose. Look at him chopping away there. Yeah, this also has provided firewood. Ding! And for those of you who are still watching, a happy little update to round up the video. You may have noticed that in the past week, the channel has reached 5,000 subscribers. I don't know what to say. Thank you all for liking, for commenting, for tuning in, and for hitting subscribe. And an extra special thanks as well to my channel members, who also play a massive part in making sure that this channel keeps going. And I know I'm being a little bit sparse with the content at the minute. Unfortunately, that might continue for another little while because there's just so much work to get on top of, and most of it isn't even house or land related. But you folks are actually going to get some pretty good content out of the work that I have been doing. It's just, it needs to get made and then go through certain particular channels before I'm allowed to upload it to YouTube. So at this stage, it's looking like it could be either later this year or possibly even early next year, by the time I'm able to bring this sort of massive archive of content that I'm currently working on behind the scenes to this channel. But yeah, I thought, you know, that might make it a little bit better that I'm being such a very bad YouTuber these days and being so inconsistent with my videos. So if you've managed to see this video and watch the whole way to the end, thank you so much. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit subscribe for more fun and completely random witchy adventures. I usually upload most Thursdays and you're not going to want to miss it. Slán agus beannacht, goodbye and good luck to you.